well. But you know, it's definitely leaving it so unresolved. Of course, it's like, you know, left the audience wanting more. You know, it's just it's as simple as that, I think, really. Although I like what Andy Warhol said: always leave the audience wanting less. More interesting.
I'd like to open it up for the audience.
Sure.
Ask a few questions.
Yeah.
Anybody have a question you want to ask? Here we go.
I'm curious how you study perhaps in terms of learning new stuff on the guitar.
I don't know. I mean, I went through a strange period post-police for about 5 years where I didn't practice. I continued making records and gigging, but I didn't. I lost my student thing, because I think of guitar as an instrument that you're always an internal. Well, for any instrument really, if you're a musician, I think you have to remain a perennial student. You know, and I lost it for a bit, maybe because I'd gone through this incredible sort of psychic blowout in a band like that. But one day I just came back to it, and I've never lost it ever since. How you do it, I'm not exactly sure. It just is. It's just I find it so interesting to keep on, you know, discovering musical things and being a student. There's always more stuff to learn. You're never really enough. You're very good at it. There's always something new to learn, and there's always some other guy doing something that you can't do. I mean, it's just one of those things. You never really stop. It's a very obsessive instrument, I think. I think if you're into it, you're into it. You know, that's the way it is. I try to keep always moving on, and you know, I play a lot of classical guitar now, and I'm always sort of upping the ante. I'm trying to play more and more difficult pieces. You know, I think you've got to learn a lot of difficult stuff. Always try, you know, keep the slope steep. You know, just trying to get up a bit more. That's what I think.
You had talked about how you have, or some people think it's unfinished business when the police broke up. I know that Stewart and Sting have children that are around the same age that are musicians. I don't know if you have any children. Could that be the next generation?
All over the world. Well, you know, I mean, actually Sting has a son, Joe, you know, because he's a baby when, Fiction Plane, when we were starting out, it was 2. Now, of course, he's grown up, and he's fantastic, you know. That's a very difficult, you know, his father, of course, is very much around and absolutely recording and working all the time, never stops. Very difficult to be the child of someone like that. Yeah, I think Joe, actually, out of all of us, all of our kids, is the one that's really gone all the way to really try to do it. Although I think Sting has got a daughter called Coco, who apparently is a fantastic singer. She did a gig in Hollywood recently. I didn't go to it. I met her recently. She's a beautiful 16-year-old girl, but very talented apparently. I have 3 kids, all of whom have played. The one actually is like me, can play anything. It's amazing. Pick up any instrument, just play it. Very gifted, but he doesn't want to do music. He just doesn't want to do it. And I kind of actually respect them for that. You know, they don't. I think space got taken up, and they're not going to try and follow their father's footsteps. It's a hard thing to do. You know, my heart goes out to those who try and do that. You know, you want to be Frank Sinatra Jr., for instance, you know, or Elvis Jr. My God. Yeah. Yeah.
You had talked specifically about the Every Breath You Take riff and Sting telling you to make it your own. You know, go ahead and do what you're going to do with it. Your lead in Driven to Tears is phenomenal. I love that lead. When you were done with that, were you proud of that, impressed with it, or was it just something off the cuff, there you go, it's on the album? Because I just think that is just...
Yeah, I thought it was a good solo, but yeah, I could do millions of solos like that. So I just said, well, that one went down, you know, it was good. But
I play it for my friends, you know, who haven't heard it, and I just say, what's this? You know?
Yeah, a lot of people talk about that one. But
yeah,
for me, it was like, well, I could do those all night, you know, if you really want. It wasn't a lucky solo. It was like, there you go, you know. But you know, you've got to remember, and I talk about this in the book, you know, I thought I was a fantastic guitar soloist when I joined the police. But we sort of came of age in the punk era, and one of the things that came with the punk era was no guitar solos. It was politically not correct to do guitar solos, which is a real pisser for me. I could play my ass off.
They were shortening the police as well, right?
Yeah, well, that was just kind of the style of the time. Unfortunately, it's sort of something that stayed, but you know, it was very irritating to me.
Yeah.
You know, because I could really play. You know. Anyway, just one of those weird little things.
big deal, and just plugged in. There you go.
I play a lot of guitar solos since that time.
Yeah.
I made up for it.
What's in your iPod? What do you listen to?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question actually, because people say, "Ooh, what are you listening to?" And I can't say, "Well, I'm listening to this current rock group or that current rock group." I just don't listen to them. What I listen to, I mean, as far as most music, I listen to my iPod, which has got my own very eclectic, choices of music. Of music that I like over my lifetime. It can, from say like a Bach Lute Suite to the Bulgarian Women's Choir to, Crescent by John Coltrane or Miles, all kinds of things, or maybe Worth Montgomery. I don't know, just different things that I really like and will come back to. But I'm not out there slavishly, passing through Tower Records with my tongue hanging. I'm not that interested because I feel like, I've been doing it a long time, and most of the stuff always sounds like a retread to me. I mean, obviously production values have changed somewhat, but it's not really where I get my inspiration from. I mean, I think the thing about the Police was that we weren't sitting around listening to lots of rock bands trying to be like a heavy rock band. The information that we used to make our rock music came from several different sources. Both Sting and I are very eclectic, and we're very much on the same page about a lot of things. Obviously music. We both love Brazilian music, we both like classical guitar, we listen to Indian music, as well as, blues and jazz. We could play all of these things actually, and so you see what I'm saying? So the point was not just like, oh, we've got to be a rock band, so we've got to listen to other rock bands. What made us interesting was not listening to rock bands, but sort of taking it from other stuff, and yet being a rock band and somehow synthesizing these, creating a new synthesis out of these elements. And that remains with me, actually, to this day. I've got my own eclectic list of stuff on the iPod. Another reason I don't want to listen to all the, current stuff all the time. Of course I listen to it. I've got kids, and I've got a house what's going on all the time. But I think it's very important to keep a space in your own head. I don't want to be full of other people's stuff all the time. I'm not in that race anymore. I already won it. Sorry, that's very...
Do you miss the jam sessions with Stewart and Sting? I mean, do you ever kind of go, oh man, it'd be nice to jam with those guys again? Or, I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Because everybody, is always asking, oh, you guys going to reunite?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, actually, I jammed with Stewart last week. He lives very close to me. We both live in LA, and we played all afternoon. Oh, well, not last week, 2 weeks ago for some German arts program, but it was really just the two of us jamming in this studio, and then eventually this classical violinist joined in, which was kind of interesting. But I've played so much over the years with some absolutely incredible drummers and bass players, as well as other instrumentalists. But it's weird. The minute I get back with Stuart, because Sting doesn't come around too much. We've done a few things together, but not a lot. But Stuart I play with more. But the minute we start, we hit a thing that I don't play with anyone else. It's weird. It's a chemistry thing. I don't know. I mean, he plays a certain way, and I react off of that. And I don't really play like that with anybody else. But I don't wake up in the morning and go, oh my God, I wish I was jamming to it. I don't. It's out there somewhere. You've got to get on. Things like this, and the next record I want to make. But we may do something next year. I don't mean necessarily a Police thing, but there's stuff in the air right now.
That's cool.
Your sound changed over the years. In the book, you went through different phases and different sounds. And what would you say is the Andy Summers sound now?
Sounds like heaven. Voice of God. What, you mean my actual electric guitar sound that I like?
Yeah.
Well, everybody's a tech head here, but I like this very sort of, I don't like a real dry sound. I like a sort of a liquid sound. And I think I was very influenced when I was first, getting into it I was influenced by Kenny Burrell, who at the time was an American jazz guitar player with a very liquid, dark sound, very bluesy. And that sound was very appealing to me. It's always sort of stayed with me. I think, you're sort of formed in your teens, you get so much, I don't know if you ever really get past it, but that sound has always been a sound I've sort of emulate it and sort of try to make my own. So I tend to like a dark, kind of wet liquid kind of sound, and I have various devices to produce that. Which I can give you a personal list of my amps on that later if you want.
I heard on
my website.
I heard on the radio this a couple days ago here in Seattle that you're going to be starting your own record label and possibly making your own stuff in your own studio. Is that?
Well, yeah, okay. Well, I mean, that's a comment on the state of the industry right now. Probably like many people, it's not starting a record label. It's like I'm not going to start a record label and start recording hundreds of musicians to be a producer. I have no interest in that whatsoever. But I am interested in not giving any more records away and getting as many back. I've got about 16 albums out there I've done since the Police, 8 of which I've got back. So, I mean, actually, specifically at this time, I started doing this a couple of years ago and then sort of fell out and got another record deal. But this year, quite recently, I decided to have an imprint, I suppose, my own, called Flickering Shadow. And I've got 8 records back so far. So it's just, I'm starting to enjoy. All right, I'm never going to do another record deal. I'm sick of it. And the last record I got offered, I had offers on it, and none of them made sense to me because I am who I am. A lot of people know me, and I can get downloaded everywhere. I can make my own CDs and get them out in CD Baby. This is kind of the way to go now. Unless you're in a big rock band and you want to give away a lot of money to a record company. I mean, some bands aren't doing that, like Radiohead, for instance. Radiohead, is that right? Yeah, that's the band. Yeah, I got it wrong. Yeah, so it's sort of an interesting moment. For me, that's what I want to do. I just can't bear the thought of giving any more records away to anyone. But I'm not going to be an active record company out looking for young talent. I'm not really interested.
All we want to hear is you.
Yeah, I just want to make my own thing, but I'm actually sort of encouraged to myself. I feel like I'm talking to myself now. Like I'm the record company. I'm looking into a mirror and go, what are you going to do next? It's time you put out your old one. Well, I think but actually, I got farther down the line with it. I got a logo, and I've sort of got the older albums back, and changing up the artwork, making everything on a digipack, and adding bonus tracks and stuff like that. Wow. It's sort of fun.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm enjoying doing it actually. I didn't think I would, but actually it's good. Yeah.
Fantastic.
You've done some wonderful jazz records, and where do you see your style leading in the future? Are you going back to jazz, or you got anything else classical? Or
well,
anything?
All of that. I don't really want to be stuck in any genre, really. I was very influenced by jazz for many years of my life, but eventually, you just kind of grow beyond it all. I mean, where I'm at, right, it's like I don't really want to listen to anybody. I don't want to copy anybody. I mean, I feel like I'm only interested in my own thing now. I mean, I've got a lot to live, no matter what. So, yeah, I mean, I write on the guitar all the time, and I've got so many compositions. I'm trying to finish them all off. I'm thinking the next thing I'm going to do is actually a solo guitar album, because I've never done that. It's one of the things I would like to do. That's the next one I'm going to make. I've got one in the can that I did with this guitarist called Ben Verdery, which is a wonderful record. Very interesting. He's a great classical guitarist from New York. And we did some interesting work together last year playing this concerto for electric guitar and classical guitar. We played at Carnegie Hall actually. We made our debut there, which was sort of interesting. Playing this concerto written on Balinese music. But anyway, we've got a beautiful album called First You Build a Cloud. I'll probably put that out in January. It's the first release on this new label. Okay, one more.
Do you select the Edge to write the foreword to your book, and if so,
select him. I like that.
And if so, why did you choose him?
Well, a lot of reasons. I think he's a very nice person. I know him for a long time. I also known his wife for many years, and his wife's mother. His mother-in-law, I suppose that would be. It's just one of those things. I sort of know them personally, and the record company, the book company now, isn't it? Yeah, the publisher said, "Why don't you get someone to write? Do you know one of your rock star friends could write?" Barbra Streisand. Anyway, The Edge came out, and they said, "Oh, great, yeah, because obviously U2 is very much around and huge all over the world, and everybody knows his name." And actually he lives a lot of the time about 5 minutes from me in Los Angeles, so it was very easy for me to get him. Well, that easy. I mean, he's not around all the time, but I was able to make contact, and he was very up for doing it, and he wrote a great piece, and I was very flattered at what he wrote. It's very sweet of him.
Okay, I think we'll go to, we want to ask one, go ahead, one last question.
The first two photography books I bought were Rob and Ralph Gibson's Tropism.
Great.
Incidentally.
Two masters there.
Both are very inspirational to me. I'm wondering if you still are doing photography.
Yeah, very much so. And in fact, I should tell you that the next book I have out, believe it or not, is going to be out in March of 2007 on Passion. And it's all photography I did in the police. Somebody got me going on this a couple of years ago, but the book is being printed this week in Germany. I photographed everything the police like from the beginning to the end, you know, in black and white photography. Never really did anything with it, oddly enough, and then somebody got me, oh, you should do all that. And the more I got into it, and I got with a designer, a book designer, I thought, God, I can't believe what I actually did, you know, now that I'm this distance from it. Anyway, it's going to be this fantastic book that Passion are putting out next, in March. What was the other part of the question? What you said? I was sort of blown on there, but Ralph Gibson I'm very close with still. He's a very good man, and he plays guitar. He was a big influence on me. Photography. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I shoot usually. Well, you know, when I travel a lot, you know, I did a big show in London. I'm trying to also put another book together called City Like This. And I had this big photography show in London last year, but it's all photography I've shot in cities around the world, all at night, all out in the street at night, all shot with a Leica 3200 ASA film. Some of it, yeah, it's just I've got a new website up, so some of it is on that, yeah, not all of it, but a good portion. So I'm trying to turn that into a book. So yes, I'm still very engaged with photography. Actually, it's a very nice counterpart to playing music. I think it works well. So there we are.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.